Hi, everyone. This is Abby and Puja, and I'm here with my friends Whitney and Jenny, and we're here to start our first SISU Sisters Circle. That is quite a mouthful. But this is basically a women's empowerment group that we designed together based on our own experiences because we're really excited to share this with other women. So we're each going to tell a little bit about ourselves, brief introduction, and when we come together live next week, we're hoping that you'll do the same. But myself, I have always been drawn towards communities of women. I chose a women's college when I was a teenager, and I wasn't quite sure why, but I found a lot of magical things happen when I got into a space of all women. It was very empowering and yet also very safe and nurturing. And I've had some very beautiful experiences since then in groups with other women. So I was able to do a Goddess Rising retreat and also an online community called Soul Women Circles. And same thing, I just found that when you have this feminine energy, really, really special things start to happen. So I just had a goal of recreating that. And of course, every circle is different, but wanted to create a forum and a space for women to collaborate and just share that magic. So I'm excited to be here with you. And I'm gonna turn over the floor to Whitney, who's gonna introduce herself.
Hey, I'm Whitney Pearsall. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I have learned as I have aged the importance of having close women friends and creating sisterhood. And I think it's so important that we come together in groups to Sherpa each other through our journeys and share our feminine energies to lift one another and encourage and hold space and grow ourselves through women's groups. I've got a group of women here locally that we are coming together to start a women's circle. And then I'm also part of a women's circle that's based out of California, the Queen's Council, that we are working together to just grow spiritually and within together. So that's it. I'm really excited to work with everyone.
And Whitney's a talented musician as well. I had to put that out there. One of my favorite musicians. And then we have the lovely Jenny. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
I'd love to. I'm Jenny, and I'm in Buffalo, New York. And I am just thrilled to be here and cultivate this space of sharing and living wholeheartedly together. And I think that one of the beautiful things about creating a space and holding space for not only all people, but especially for the divine feminine is just so sacred to me because I feel like we're all in this together, regardless if we're in North Carolina or Buffalo or California or wherever, we are still all together at once all the time. And I'm really excited to share this journey with you. So thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you for the next 6 weeks.
Thanks, Jenny. So we're going to just do a brief overview of the topics that we're going to cover during our session with you on Sunday. We figured that if we gave you sort of a background video that you could watch on your own time, then we wouldn't have to spend our hour of time, which is so precious, just talking at you. So each week we'll try to give you a short snippet like this so that you can just get a foundation. And then when we come together, we can share and be in community. But what we're going to talk about for this first week is the power of ritual. Whitney's going to be our expert on that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about journaling, and Jen's going to get into the power of affirmations. So Whitney, I'll turn the floor to you, and you can talk a little bit about ritual.
Ritual is something to me that I use daily, but it's also something that you can use just on certain occasions. Everybody uses ritual. We just do, and I find them to be the foundations of grounding for us. I typically use my ritual starting in the morning walking on the beach, and You can utilize your ritual for connecting to your highest self. It gets the day started for me. I close my day in ritual with gratitude. These are ways that I make sure that I am receiving the abundance, but also giving the abundance back. It's an exchange of energy. We do it when we greet one another. Some people have rituals in their churches or in their sacred spaces. I do new moon and full moon rituals, rituals through dance, rituals through singing, rituals just in noticing nature and growing into and with spirit and energy. It's an amazing process that helps you connect to everything around you. And I look forward to leading you through some of possibilities of rituals. You may have a ritual that's self-care at night when you're taking care of yourself before you go to bed, when you're washing your face and brushing your teeth, moisturizing, and just loving yourself. You may have that in the morning. We have daily rituals that we don't even call ritual because it's so natural to us. And that's what it's about, becoming your highest authentic self.
Lovely. Thank you. And we're going to invite you when you come to join us on Sunday to share some of your rituals. And then if there are any that you want to learn more about, our sort of curriculum is very fluid for this class. So we invite you to share areas of interest, curiosity, telling us what's been helpful for you. We want this to feel like a two-way street, not just us talking at you, as I said earlier. So please bring those ideas and feel free to share your curiosities and your interests. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about journaling. And this is something that I've been doing sort of intuitively since I was very small. My grandma started buying me notebooks when I was maybe like 6 when I would go visit her. And I would just write stories, write poems, draw pictures. And I found it very therapeutic, although I didn't know that word at that age. It just felt really good to get those things on the paper. So I've continued to do that through my adult life. And I was joking with Jen and Whitney a minute ago that I have these laundry baskets filled with journals and notebooks from, 30 some years of life. Well, I'm 40, but I didn't write when I was born. And so, I've done that kind of journaling, but then the more I read and learned and became part of groups, I found out that there were more structured forms of journaling, and some of those appealed to me as well. And there are so many types of journaling under the sun that we won't get into all of them during our group. But I just wanted to talk about a couple of them today and share with you some examples to get your creative wheels spinning, so to speak. So the free writing, the sort of stream of consciousness journaling, is probably the most popular and what people think of, where you just get a journal and go to town writing whatever bubbles up. But when Whitney mentioned the gratitude practice, a gratitude journal can be a very powerful tool. So that's something that I have definitely been doing, not as consistently as I would like, but when I do remember to do it, I really notice that it raises my vibration, gets me into a much better feeling place. So that's a beautiful type of journaling. There's a book that I love called The Artist's Way. And one type of journaling that the author of this, Julia Cameron, recommends is called the morning pages. And it's kind of that stream of consciousness that I just mentioned, but she has you do 3 pages of it every morning to sort of drain off any stress or any things that are top of mind. And then that allows you to get to your deepest creativity. So we'll get more into that. I also brought a prompt journal. There are many different types that you can find. This is a funny one that I bought at Barnes & Noble called Burn After Writing. So it holds deep, dark secrets, which I won't share all of quite yet, but I thought I'd just read a few prompts from this to give you a sense of what some journal prompts might sound like. So one of them is, I was most happy when the book that had the greatest influence on my life was, and the most dramatic fork in the road of my life was. So you could see how those could be really thought-provoking and give you a chance to reflect in some deeper ways. And then another type of journal that I recently discovered is art therapy. I'm not an art therapist, but I bought this book because I love art and I love journaling. And one of the exercises that I tried in the last week or so is called Garden of Self. And so what you do is you think of your life as a garden. And the healthy plants in the garden would be your positive strengths, your attributes. So you would paint or draw, sketch those in your journal or on your paper. The seeds in your garden are your goals, and the weeds are the issues or problems that prevent you from reaching your goals. So I found that very interesting to process my life in that way, in the visual image of a garden. And then they offer some reflective questions that you can journal about or just kind of think about when you're done. So art journaling is another spin on journals. And then I'm going to teach you one called the Pray Rain Journal. We'll be sending out a sample of it between now and when we meet on Sunday so that you can review it. But the way the Pray Rain Journal works is you basically write down an ideal day, scripting it as if it's happening in the present tense, really getting into all of the sensory details of that day. What would you be doing? What would you feel like? What would you see, hear, smell, taste, etc. And really finding the feeling place, the emotion, the essence that you would want in that ideal day. And it's so liberating to let yourself just sort of daydream and play with a Pray Rain journal. And what I was saying a minute ago to the ladies here is that I have done these several times, and I looked back at my favorite one recently, and I noticed that many of the things I had scripted in that Pray Rain journal have now come to fruition. So I had this vision of a beautiful house in nature with a babbling brook and big windows that would let you see the woods. And we're actually buying a house like that. With a property that I can build my she shed, and that was part of what I envisioned. So it can also be a really cool manifesting tool. And I just am excited to kind of, work through journaling with you and hear your experiences, and also see if the Pray Rain Journal plays out as amazingly as it has for me, for the rest of you. Another quick note about journaling that I found while I was doing some research is all the benefits. So I personally knew that it was fun and I liked it and I felt better when I did it, but there have actually been research studies that found that journaling helps reduce depression and anxiety. It also decreases pain levels, increases physical health, and even helps immune system response. And, I'm not a medical doctor, but my guess is that anytime we can let our emotions sort of drain off and not be stuck in our body, we feel better. And so that makes sense to me, although I don't understand the medical explanation for it. So that's a little bit about journaling. I'm going to let Jen tell you about affirmations. So I'll turn the floor over to you, Miss Jenny.
Hi. So affirmations is a really beautiful way to cultivate and create new belief systems. And sometimes we find that we might have a pattern or just an experience that continues to replay over and over again. And the best way to kind of find out what's at the root of that is finding what we believe about this particular topic. And a way that we can kind of change that pattern is cultivating and finding new belief systems. And a way that we can do that is through affirmations. So I'm really excited to get into that work. I use affirmations, and I see the magic behind the words, and I love words, so I'm excited to share that with you. And another interesting thing that we're going to be working with are with crystals, and affirmations coinciding with crystals, and so that's going to be a really fun exercise. So that will be my segment, and I look forward to working with you.
Awesome. And if you have experience with affirmations, or you have affirmations that have been really powerful for you that you want to bring to the circle, we welcome that. I've dabbled in affirmations. I believe in their power, and I see it with my students. I work with kids doing affirmations, but we're certainly not the professional experts on affirmations. So feel free to bring your own and your own journeys and experiences with those. So I'm just going to go over our sort of what to bring for our first session on Sunday. And if for some reason you don't have these things available, don't feel like you can't come to Circle. This will just make it easier for you to, jot down notes and join in. But by all means, all are welcome. And say you can't find your journal and it's Sunday morning, don't skip Circle because of that. We still want you to come and be part of our group. But our recommendations, if you're able, are to bring a journal or just some paper if you don't have an actual journal, a pen or a pencil. We're going to be doing some reflection and some exercises with writing. And then I'm going to send out some questions that we'd love for you to just reflect on and be ready to either discuss or ask questions about when we come together. So we're going to ask you what brings you to the Sacred Women's Circle and what you hope to gain during this time together. That will help us sort of guide our curriculum and maybe change some topics and add some things that speak to you. And we're going to talk about ritual, of course. So we want to know what kind of rituals you have in your life and if there are any that you want to learn more about. Are you curious? Do you have some, interests that you haven't been able to delve into? And perhaps we can explore those during our time together. And then we're going to talk a little bit about norms and sort of rules of etiquette for being in a circle. So if you have any suggestions or any questions about that topic, we're going to spend some time creating those norms so that we all feel sort of safe, respected, protected, and sharing during our time and space together. So I think that is all we're going to go over for our first video. We are so excited to see you all on Sunday. Do either of you have anything else that you want to share before we pop off?
We're just excited to meet you and work with you. And this next 6 weeks is going to be such a great journey for us.
Agreed.
Forward to it.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you all on Sunday and have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.